The 2026 World Cup expands to 48 teams. That expansion introduces dozens of new variables to your Matchday 1 roster build. We are now looking at severely lopsided opening matchups. Powerhouses like Spain face Cape Verde, and Germany lines up against Curaçao. Right out of the gate, you face a strategic choice. You can drain your budget on a couple of expensive global superstars, or you can spread your cash around to exploit these uneven fixtures. To figure that out, we have to look past the generic top 100 player lists. We need to evaluate pure return on investment. We are going to break down 3 specific structural paths you can take, weighing the costs and trade-offs of each to help you optimize your Matchday 1 squad. Success in your mini-league depends on how effectively you distribute your budget across these uneven matchups. Let's start with what we call the premium tax. This is the cost you pay when you allocate 20% or more of your overall budget to elite Tier 1 attackers. Look at Erling Haaland, at $10.5 million going up against a heavy underdog in Iraq. He is the ultimate premium anchor. Or Kylian Mbappe, also $10.5 million, stepping on the pitch against Senegal. Paying that tax buys you a heavy reliance on a single, high-volume asset to anchor your captaincy return. But that peace of mind comes with a structural trade-off. Dropping that much cash on one guy fractures the rest of your budget. To stay under the salary cap, you are forced to roster $3.5 to $4.0 million defenders from unproven nations just to field a legal team. You secure your points up top, but you critically expose your backline. Those bargain bin defenders are likely to concede multiple goals and drag your total down with negative points. If you want to avoid gutting your defense, there is a strategic alternative: the sub-premium captaincy exploit. This strategy targets attackers priced between $7.5 and $8.5 million who play for major powerhouse nations facing the weakest possible Matchday 1 opponents. This chart plots the top 50 players by price and projected points. Look at Spain's Mikel Oyarzabal at $8.1 million. Notice how he sits alone in the optimal top left quadrant. He projects for identical output to the super premiums clustered on the expensive right side. This specific move delivers premium-level attacking returns, while simultaneously leaving over $2 million in the bank to aggressively upgrade your defensive line. The trade-off with this sub-premium tier is that you take on a moderate amount of rotation risk. Take Kai Havertz at $7.8 million. He has a brilliant matchup against Curaçao, but his minutes might be limited if Germany decides to rest him following his fall to the Champions League final. You have to accept the minor risk that your guy plays 60 minutes instead of 90. In exchange, you gain massive mathematical budget flexibility. Now, let's look at how you spend the rest of your cash, specifically the hidden value inside the budget enabler category. This is where you filter for designated specialists who dominate their team's set-piece duties. This data table breaks down the mechanics. Comparing a standard $5 million defender against a $5 million set-piece taker, you see how taking dead balls inflates their baseline points. They don't rely on open play goals to get you on the board. Look at Marcel Sabitzer at $6.8 million. He gives you direct access to Austria's corners and free kicks, making him a reliable mid-tier anchor. Or Hakan Calhanoglu at $7.1 million, who locks down both penalties and direct free kicks for Turkey. The catch here is that these players often represent mid-tier nations going up against tougher tactical matchups, which caps their absolute ceiling. They probably aren't going to drop a 15-point masterclass. But set-piece takers are low-risk floor raisers. They turn cheap roster spots into steady point streams. All those savings you generated by skipping the $10.5 million stars now funnel directly into your backline. Instead of scraping the bottom of the barrel, you can afford $4 to $5 million defenders who play for strong defensive nations with highly favorable Matchday 1 groups. That means you can afford pieces of the Mexican defense against South Africa, picking up solid options like Johan Vasquez for just $4.7 million. Or you can target the Swiss defense going up against Qatar, easily slotting in Manuel Akanji at $5 million or Ricardo Rodriguez at $4.5. Ensuring your backline doesn't collapse from a single conceded goal is the direct result of reinvesting those millions saved up top. How you apply these efficiency theories depends on your personal league goals and how much time you want to spend managing your squad. If you are a casual mini-league player, you probably want a safe, low-maintenance Matchday 1 team to beat your friends. The blueprint for you is simple. Anchor your squad with one $10.5 million premium and accept the premium caps. To support that anchor, you stack your roster with cheap, guaranteed starting defenders from highly predictable groups like Switzerland to cover that massive upfront cost. This strategy minimizes your chance of an early disaster. It provides the stability needed to survive the opening weekend without constant monitoring. But if you fit the optimizer profile, a veteran manager fighting for global rank, you require strict mathematical leverage over the rest of the field. This flowchart maps your exact blueprint. You avoid the full-priced premiums entirely, and you build your roster exclusively around the sub-premium tier. You give Mikhail Oyarzabal the captain's armband at $8.1 million to fully capitalize on Spain's extreme matchday one mismatch. From there, you fill the rest of your midfield with designated set-piece takers to lock in a mathematically superior baseline across the board. Fantasy budgets are fixed, but strategy is not. Taking the time to choose the structural path that matches your risk appetite is what ultimately wins World Cup fantasy leagues.